special edition of WeatherScope is sponsored by the new zip-built InDrive from Iomega. Get one in your next computer.
This is a special edition of WeatherScope.
A powerful nor'easter that battered the east is heading out to sea, but its effects are still far-reaching this afternoon along the coast. Welcome to this special edition of WeatherScope. I'm Bob Stokes. Joining me soon will be Jamie Simpson, a meteorologist here on the Weather Channel, to talk about coastal flooding in particular. We also have two on-camera meteorologists out in the field, and they'll be reporting to us soon from Massachusetts and Virginia. But right now we're dealing with more rain along the coast. The good news, it's beginning to taper off somewhat, but still along the immediate coast is where the lingering effects will be felt right through this evening. As the low moves toward the east-northeast, there's still going to be a considerable amount of not only coastal flooding but coastal erosion. On our visible satellite picture, that means the sunshine is creating these images we see here, the reflection off of the sun, so we see a very true picture of the low right there moving toward the east-northeast, and it's still a slow mover, and that means there's going to be plenty of time for more beach erosion and more coastal flooding as time goes on from the New England to the mid-Atlantic coast. So it's not over yet. Perhaps later this evening we'll start to see it winding down, and certainly by tomorrow it looks a lot better. All the while, though, we're dealing with a potpourri of winds, ferocious wind chills, sometimes below zero, and not only rain, but in some cases ice pellets. Joining us, as you can see to my right there, is Kristen Dodd in Winthrop, Massachusetts, and we'll be joining Mike Seidel shortly in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Kristen, last time we talked, you said some ice pellets were hitting you. Are they still?
Yes, they are. And the winds now have definitely picked up just in the past few minutes. Officially, we have had gusts of about 50 miles an hour, but these gusts that we have been seeing here are exceeding that. And yes, we are getting those ice pellets being blown in on these very strong winds out of the northeast here at Winthrop Beach, which is just to the east of Boston in Massachusetts Bay. And the ice pellets are beginning to add up. I'll have my photographer pan down. Yeah, well, there they go. That's what I was able to scrape off of our windshield. And we are beginning to see some problems on the roads as now the ice is beginning to stick a little bit. And so that is going to be a new dimension to this storm. Still seeing the strong winds and also the potential for some coastal flooding and minor beach erosion tonight, as we could see some of the waves exceeding this morning's high tide by about 5 to 7 feet. And so we could see some of the overlapping and also some of the shoreline roads closed later on today. Now let's go ahead and go to our Mike Seidel, who is in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Mike?
And Kristen, here in Virginia Beach, it's not quite as cold. We're still getting some rain. Temperatures, though, have chilled off to the low 40s. Big change today, certainly this afternoon, as the wind is becoming more northerly and almost a little northwest, almost blowing offshore. Imagine that, and that should save us from any real problems here along the coastline in Virginia Beach, at least here where we are. But there could be more problems later today over at Chicks Beach near the Bay Bridge Tunnel, and that's where some homes were damaged earlier today. And with that beach facing north, look out late this afternoon at time of high tide. Let's take a look now at the Weather Channel Mass Cam, and boy, is the surf really kicking up this afternoon. We've got surf breaking at about 6 to 8 feet out there on the end of the Virginia Beach Fishing Pier. The pier survived this one so far A-OK. In fact, they opened it up today. You can get out to the shops about a third of the way out, but that's about it. A lot of locals out here, a lot of tourists checking out the surf. And overnight last night and early this morning at high tide, we had the waves crashing over the concrete structure, which is the boardwalk here in Virginia Beach, and that brought in certainly a lot of debris from the Atlantic. Again, high tide due in this afternoon, 3:30, 4 o'clock. We should not have it as high in most of the tidewater area. It should be about a foot lower, but still some of those homes down in Sandbridge and just north of here, northeast of here, up at the Chicks Beach area are still threatened. They're up on stilts. The water is under them, and some of those homes are already threatened by the ocean from last week's storm. We may have more homes going in later on this afternoon. All the interstates are okay, and the flooding from last night's heavy rains has subsided. So there is some good news here in the Tidewater. We'll keep you updated. Back to you, Bob.
Well, Mike, thanks a lot. Good to hear some good news out of this anyway. We'll be reporting back with you or checking back with you. Joining me now is meteorologist Jamie Simpson of the Weather Channel. And Jamie, coastal flooding with the high tide coming in, a big concern. We have a picture to show our viewers of the Northeast. Could we look at these isobars and tell me why has the flooding been so pronounced?
Well, there's been a couple of factors. One is how deep the storm is. We have quite